overcoming those traits that people say, oh, well, that's just a part of your personality. Well, it also goes into you got to die to yourself. If you want to become better, you got to crush that flesh.
Let your mind be free. Covenant and culture. Real talk, real culture. We lift you up, we build you strong. We want this journey to bolder. Oh, this your moment. This your time. Let the light of truth.
Shalom and greetings, everyone. Today I'm going to go over 7 things that I wish I would have developed prior to marriage. So the first one is directional guidance from Yahuwah, not seeking my own way, not seeking my own desires, but truly submitting myself to the will of the Father because He created me. So wanting to know what His purpose is for me. So that goes along with prayer and fasting, intentionally seeking, not just looking for a job and looking for a career that makes a certain amount of money so that I can pay the certain amount of bills that I have, low level thinking, a poverty mindset, all of that, but really submitting myself to the Father and seeing what it is that He has for me. And that goes along with listening to the still small whispers, not being in control, not feeding narcissism, not feeding, wondering what other people will think. But what is it that you have for me? So that's number 1. Number 2, I would have been more of an avid reader. Why? Because when I listen to the millionaires and the billionaires, that are successful, that are financially independent, they say that, they may have dropped out of high school. Some didn't go to college, many didn't. And those that went to college realized that what they learned in the classroom was not what made them or gave them the skill sets and the knowledge to be venture capitalists, to, help companies go public, to be successful day traders, or, and I'm not saying that's for everybody, but for those that, are caught outside of the box, that want to be a bigger blessing in certain avenues, then you have to apply yourself to knowledge and wisdom. And one of those ways is by being an avid reader. So instead of graduating from college and saying sort of like, I'm done with reading, I would have definitely been more of an avid reader, because they say what? If you put it in a book, we won't read it. All right. So number 3, because being an avid reader goes into, business and finance and tax management and investing, the next area is finances. I would have chosen if I had the choice, my desire, the desire of my heart would have been to find a career path that offered time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom. Why? Because there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in your own household, in my own household, as far as, ways that I could have been in greater blessing, like the Proverbs 31 woman, instead of, it's not easy. It's not easy financially in this society, in America. So consumerism, all of that would have been gone out the window. So yes, I would have focused on something like that. Day trading, investing, real estate, insurance, e-commerce, crypto, whatever it is, something that provided more freedom sooner in life. Okay. So I would have done that. And that goes along with, investing in all of those things, because when you're in position to, not just be blessed, but to be a blessing, that's the goal, to be the lender, not the borrower. Right. Okay. So number 4 would have been more personal, would have been self-confidence, but not really self-confidence. It would have been God confidence, leading on Him, Yah confidence, right? So that is crucial. That goes into emotional maturity, emotional intelligence, overcoming those traits that people say, oh, well, that's just a part of your personality. Well, it also goes into you got to die to yourself. If you want to become better, you got to crush that flesh, right? So I would have wanted to grow more in wisdom, which also comes from the other areas that are already discussed. Directional guidance from Yahuwah, being an avid reader, all these things, and not feeling like I had to prove myself, right, to anyone but an audience of one. that's all that matters, you know. So the sooner I could free myself from that, the sooner I could truly walk in the purpose, the calling, the anointing that He has for me, right? And then number five would have been enhanced communication. That's interpersonal, that's business communication, leadership, all of that. I wish that if I could go back, I would improve my communication skills so that I could show love more in my words towards my husband, so that I could better communicate what I was feeling without holding things in and then blowing up, which is not intentional, which is not purposeful, which is not well pleasing to the Father. It's not walking in the Spirit, and it's not productive. It's counterproductive. So I would have learned to be a better communicator. And when I looked at how communication was handled with those close to me, it wasn't the best. Yeah, it's not great to just shut people out and not deal with conflict. It's not good to stomp off and you know. So those are areas where I would have spent more time intentionally being a better communicator. But that also comes with, you know, what's feeding you, who's feeding you, right? All right. So if I go into who's feeding you, that will be my next one, which is mentoring. You know, making sure there's always smarter people in the room, making sure there's always people to hold me accountable and challenge me in every season of my life prior to marriage, because mentoring is so important. That's another key thing that I see amongst affluent and successful people. And successful doesn't just go into money, it goes into mind, body, spirit. So you got to have wisdom in mentoring in those different areas. It's not just one. You can't just have spirit and you have no fruit, you know. So it's a balance. Not just focused on helping others and serving others and building their empires, but uh, pouring into myself, growing, learning. How can I be a better person? How can I make this world better while I have to live in it, being in it but not of it, right? So that would have been the next one. That would have been number six. And then number seven would have been more focused on health and wellness. So I would have done the raw diet sooner. I would have done Sabi sooner. I would have wanted to, you know, just be more health conscious. And also, you know, coming into marriage, cooking healthier meals, you know, because we're responsible for that, you know. I know my husband would text me, he'd be like, "Hey, can I have some?" You know, before I could get the healthy meal out, he'd already text me. So that's why I would have worked on my communication, because I would have been like, you know, you know, I really love you and I really don't want anything bad to happen to you. I don't want you to have blood pressure issues. And, you know, because the reality is a lot of times in our families, you know, we don't have the best health habits. And some of us grew up with either I grew up well below the poverty level. So, but as best as my mom could do as we got older, we chose to eat healthier. We made things from scratch instead of buying things that were already prepared. So there's a way around it. There is a way to stretch. And I really learned how to stretch from my mom. Now, when I was a younger child, we ate crappy. We ate crappy. We ate pork hot dogs. We ate all this stuff. You know, we had white bread and all that, all those things that, you know, oh, they're doing so much with the food supply. But that's another topic. Um, but yeah, I would have focused on health. I would have, you know, approached things from a place of love and concern and empathy, and you know, cooked better for myself, for my husband. It would have been more active, just more purposeful with honoring my temple, you know. So that's number seven. All right. So I hope this blessed you today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Shalom.
We in here, oh, let the spirit move. We talking faith.